Welcome in. Happy Wednesday. It is the United States Open, and I'm here for the next hour to answer as many questions as I possibly can with logic, with data, with reason, with a little bit of nonsense along the way. Go ahead, hit the like button. Make sure you're subscribed, all that fun stuff. Listen, I've got 60 minutes exactly. I've got a hard out. This is going to be the most action-packed live chat you have ever seen. I will not stop talking. I will go through this and I will hardly breathe. Let's get into the items that we normally get into here. Let's start with the weather. This weather station is I think it's on the golf course. It is about as close as you're going to be able to get. I think it is actually on the golf course. So here is the 10-day. Friday afternoon weather. Thunderstorms on Saturday, thunderstorms on Sunday. Chances of shower. I mean, look at the next week. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Not very good. The good news is this can change very quickly because I don't think I remember seeing it this bad for Friday when I looked yesterday. So here's what we've got. A half an inch of precipitation forecasted for Friday afternoon. And then, basically it's going to be wet. Here's the thing. They're going to play through it, right? It's the US Open. They know this is coming. Remember that time at Oak Hill where it was just hey, the weather, it's in the forecast. It's going to pour all day long. We're going to play through it. I imagine that's going to be the case. If you're looking for golfers, the wind doesn't really change throughout the week. It's just a matter of weather. I think you probably want these guys to be done as early on Friday as possible. So that's your Thursday afternoon, Friday morning group. Those are all loaded into my site, rickrungood.com. I'll refresh this because I had a little bit of I had an extra period in there, but here you go. Waves are all loaded in. If you want to create lineups with weather waves, you can do that. Just go under change settings, go under all waves. Maybe you want PM only. That would be PM, PM, AM, or maybe you want at least 4 golfers from that wave, something like that. You have that option available to you. So I think I like that side better. After that, it's going to be, it's going to be pretty wet. Golf course is going to play pretty long, and we'll see if this changes along the way. One and done ownership. This is not projected. This is the actual site-wide selection rates on officefootballpool.com. It's millions and millions and millions of entries, and this is what the current selection rates are. No surprise, Jon Rahm and Bryson DeChambeau are the most highly used for this week. They should be. You can only use them at 4 times a year. This is a really good major championship for them. Xander Schauffele and Scotty Scheffler are next. Basically, if you have Scotty Scheffler left, you're using him, right? There's I think industry-wide about roughly 16% of entries have Scotty left, and he's being used at a 15% clip this week. So pretty crazy stuff. Xander Schauffele's next. And then those are the only 4 golfers in double digits. Joaquin Niemann, 9.5, and then a big drop off to Ludwig Oberg at 4%. If you're trying to make up ground, love the Ludwig option. I'm sure we'll talk about him, but he's shown me enough in the last 5 rounds. 100-round DNA, spectacular for this golf course, has one big event, is 4% owned. That would be my favorite path to go if you are trying to make up ground. If you are front running, your choice, Rahm or Bryson, either one. Probably go Bryson and save Rahm for the Open if that is tickling your fancy. Additionally, this is it. Last call. If you want to play golf with John Daly and myself, if you want to win $40,000 off of a $50 entry, they're not exclusive to one another. They're not correlated, but every entry that you put into this contest or any PGA contest on Splash through this week gets you into the draw for an all expense paid trip to play golf with John Daly and I. We have 1 spot remaining. We already drew 1 winner, Craven. He's coming down from Canada, and he's going to join us for this round. We've got 1 more spot in the foursome. This week's contest is, like I said, $50 an entry, $40,000 for first, $13,000 for second. It's a little top heavy for my liking, but hey, they're doing the marketing. They're putting up the guaranteed purse of $150K. They can do whatever they want. About half full. This will fill, I imagine. And it will fill pretty early. So you are going to want to get in on this. But yeah, we're rocking and rolling. Come join us. Pick 1 golfer from each of 8 tiers. Your best 7 scores count. And finally, before I get to the very first question, which is from Will, I can see it here. Let me remind you that right now, DraftKings is giving new customers a chance to play free for their share of millions in prizes with their first deposit on the DraftKings Daily Fantasy app. It's very simple to play. Just build your dream lineup, stay under the cap, $50,000, every birdie, bogey, and every clutch putt. Ooh, sit back and watch them all. Feel the intensity. Now, All you do, you download the DraftKings Daily Fantasy app, you enter promo code RickDFS to play for your share of millions. That's RickDFS for new DraftKings customers. Just download the Daily Fantasy app for your free shot to play today. The crown is yours. All right, let's get into some of these questions here. Will, I promised you you'd be first, and here we go. In between about 4 lineups this week for a single entry in DFS leagues, here's the main debate: Neiman, Burns, or Xander Cam. I can also swap either Neiman for X or X for Ludwig. All right, that's probably the path that I'm going here. Neiman's been playing very, very good golf. Everything I show you here is from this point on is probably my website, rickrungood.com. I am peaked. My interest is peaked. Okay. This is a golfer who's been one of the best golfers in the world in 2025. However, his major championship record is not very good. However, his most recent major, the T8 at the PGA Championship, was his best. I wonder if the struggles that he has had in major championships compared to the rest of his play is because of how low he hits the golf ball. He hits it far enough, very low ball flight. The more firm, the more fast you get, that becomes more difficult. Now, if we get a lot of rain, that probably helps Joaquin because your descent angles are not going to be as critical. So I'm torn here. I think that I prefer the Xander Cam Young side of things. I prefer the maybe the Ludwig Burns side of things, right? Something like that. I'll just show you the Ludwig stuff because I know there's already a lot of Ludwig questions. I've seen enough. Okay. You've got 5 incredible rounds in a row, 6.7 strokes gained at the Memorial, very difficult golf course, goes out and ball strikes the cover off of it all 4 days at the Canadian Open. I've seen enough. The pure DNA from this guy is stellar. His major championship record is 6 major championships deep, 3 top 12 finishes, a runner-up finish at the Masters. The dude on paper, this is just an absolute spot for him. So you're going to hear me talk about Ludwig a lot. Josh says, thoughts on Thorbjorn Olesen? Wow, we're already at that portion of the week where Josh is looking for Thorbjorn Olesen takes. I think this is going to be a little bit of a tough challenge for him, right? The good finish at the Canadian Open was sparked by 1 good round in which he gained 5.5 strokes putting, basically the best round of his career, gained 7 strokes putting for the week, lost everywhere else, hemorrhaged from tee to green. It hasn't been that bad the rest of the year, but I don't really love this spot for him. I think this is going to be a pretty tough ask for Thorbjorn. Just curious about the John Rahm picture in the background. Yeah, can you see it here? So Bubba says, is he your favorite or is it just a Rahm photo? I like Rahm just fine. Very intense. I love the way he plays golf. That is actually me right next to him. So this is a professional photo that was taken. So that's me. And then that is Joe Musso. So it's a very cool photo from Phoenix a couple of years ago. A professional photog took it. We were able to get access to it. Mina, as a present to me, had it printed up on a canvas and it hangs in the backdrop, which is really good. Any chance we see Gary Woodland making the weekend? So Gary Woodland is a very good club head speed, ball head speed, distance type of guy. The problem is the rest of his game is pretty sour. The other problem is he just hasn't played well at major championships, which should be the best place for him over the course of the last 5 or 6 years. The 10th at the U.S. Open, the 14th at the Masters, that was Brookline, and then the Masters in 2023, just surrounded by a bunch of finishes outside the top 50, a bunch of missed cuts. You just have to be good everywhere. And at this point in his career, Gary Woodland is not that good in every category. Hey, Rick, says Ryan, I've already used Bryson and Rahm. I'm not really interested in any other live player. Would you play Keegan, Harris, Morikawa? Depends on your positioning a little bit, Ryan. I'm intrigued by the Morikawa option. He's likely to be very low owned. In fact, I'm looking for his potential ownership. Okay, 3.8%. He's going to have to do it a different way. He's going to have to play out of the fairway. The rain for him is good because it makes fairways effectively wider. So I think that is good. The other option would be Harris English. If you're trying to make up more ground, I think you go with Harris English. There was a question about Harris English. I'm just going to hit that one here at the same time. So Harris English is very good in difficult scoring conditions, hard golf courses, even major championships. Look at his best results this year. A win at Torrey, which played harder for the Farmers than it did for the Genesis. He still had a pretty decent finish at the Genesis as well. So difficult golf course there. Houston, Memorial Park, difficult golf course, T18. Masters, T12. Philly Cricket Club, T11. Remember, that was, what was the winning score? 12 under par, something like that. Runner-up finish at Quail, 12th at the Memorial. So basically all of his good finishes are coming at the most difficult golf courses. I think he's really interesting if you're trying to make up a lot of ground. Garrett says, hey, can you show the ownerships and what the pivot options might be? Yeah, particularly in the 7K range. So Scotty's capturing a lot of ownership. Xander and Rory, based on their price, are being lower owned. I've got them about 13.5% right now. We'll run this a couple more times before the tournament actually kicks off. If you're going down to the 7K range, so let's do this. Let's sort by golfers in just the 7K, and then I will I'll filter on 7K, and then I'll sort on projected ownership. Seth Straka, Corey Connors carrying some of the most ownership. Ben Griffin as well. Let's see. The bottom of this range, your pivots would be, I don't love a lot of these pivots here. The low owned guys are Wyndham Clark, Cam Smith, Sung J M, Minwoo Lee, Tony Finau, Matt Fitzpatrick. I don't mind going to Russell Henley at 9.8%. I actually do not mind Matt Fitzpatrick as much as I have in previous weeks. And Tony Finau, to me, this is kind of a bit of a last hurrah. He has gotten actually slower, as you can imagine. He's now 35. My God, as a 36-year-old, that's horrible. I'm talking about his decline physically, and he's younger than I am, but does not have the club head speed that he did a couple of years ago. He's played okay golf. The driver is still there. I think he still gets it a little bit of an edge at a golf course like this. Had a top 20 at Quail Hollow. His US Open record has been decent. A lot of high upside finishes in the last decade or so. I think this is one last hurrah for Tony before we go to, oh God, what is next year? Is next year Marion? No, Marion's 2030. 2026 US Open is, nobody tell me. I don't have time to do this, but it is, I just saw it yesterday. Shinnecock, back to Shinnecock, I believe. I think this is like the last hurrah for him. Heard any talk about Michael Thompson or Davis Thompson this week, or I haven't heard? Are they flying under the radar or just not moving the needle here? Davis Thompson, let's look at him first, because I think if he was playing up to his top-notch stuff, he would be more interesting, but he's not. Yeah, so Davis Thompson is a tee to green maven, which is how he got that victory last year at the John Deere, almost a full year since then. And kind of since then, we haven't seen a lot of great play. Pops off at Shriners. Okay, cool. Hits it well at Phoenix. Has now struggled in 4 straight. The putter's gone. The tee to green game is gone. This is a tough ask for him. Michael Kim also has cooled off a little bit. Still getting probably some better tee to green numbers. Yeah, much better than Davis Thompson. Did not play well at the Memorial. That place ate him alive, but it was mostly off the tee. The rest of the game I'm okay with. So I would prefer Michael Kim. I don't think I'm in too deep on either one of them. In a pool, would you go Scotty with Contrarian picks or someone else in tier 1 like Roy Rahm or Ludwig? Okay. So it depends on how many people are in your pool. If there's a lot of people, I would probably go different in tier 1 and go like Rahm or Bryson or Ludwig or something like that. I still think a lot of people are going to play Scotty Scheffler. If it's a smaller pool, let's say less than 100 people, fewer than 100 people, Armina's going to kill me for saying that. I would go with Scotty and then be different in the other tiers. Thoughts on Minwoo Lee? Minwoo has been very good at kind of like I'm trying to think of U.S. Opens at Brookline. He's been very good at LACC. He's been very good at Pinehurst. The recent form is very concerning. The putter is gone, which is one of his best weapons leading up to his win. The approach play is gone. This happens a lot. How often do we see this? I pointed out nearly every single time it happens. A guy slumps after the win. It happens all the time for these young guys, not for Scotty Scheffler, not for Rory McIlroy, not for whatever. Happens all the time in guys' first wins. I do not like the way this sets up for Minwoo Lee. Can we get a deep dive on Sam Stevens, Max Grazerman, and Ryan Gerard? I'll give you one of them. Let's go with Grazerman, because I think that is a very interesting set of skills, an interesting set of skills for this week. When he is at his best, he's a driver and he is a putter. Those are rare being put together. He's also, look at this, picked up what is that? 8.5, 9 strokes on approach in his last 3, quietly putting together really good finishes. He's out of his mini slump and he's back into playing to his baseline. I love that a lot. He's played in 4 major championships. The last 3, which are over the last 2 years, he has made the cut in all of them and finished top 35 or better. I'm actually going to favorite his name because the more that I talk about that, the more I get interested in Max Grazerman. Al says, before reading this, my take is that AM PM will have an advantage. It will be baking Thursday in the afternoon, Friday rain. Okay. Al's got a different idea. I guess it depends on when the rain comes in, right? When does it get soft? The best players, let me clear out these filters here. So if we just look at strictly at the waves, here are the guys that are PM AM, which is actually, you want the opposite of this, Al. Al wants AM PM, which would be these guys: Bryson, English, Ludwig, Lowry, Rory, Xander, Tommy Fleetwood. The PM AM wave: Scotty, Rahm, Neiman, Straka. I think I prefer that side, but that's just me. Need one in a vacuum: Siwoo, Minwoo, or Patrick Reed. 2v2 on DK, Fleetwood and Henley, or Ludwig and Denny. Very tight. Ludwig's the best player there. Denny is the worst player there. Because of how important I think par is going to be, give me the 2 well-rounded guys, Fleetwood and Henley. Hey, Rick, my only chance to win is the third segment and one and done. Everyone has used JT, but me, use that leverage now. My other options are Victor and Xander, but X will be popular. X will probably not be that popular, right? Anytime you're going to use a PGA Tour player at a major championship, you're going to get a little bit of an edge because everyone's using Rahm and Bryson. So I'm assuming that's what's happening, Lando. I would use Xander now, save JT for the Open, save JT for the Travelers, save JT for a playoff event. I would do that. JT would actually probably be my third favorite I'd probably go Xander, then Victor, then Justin Thomas if I were you, but I don't think Xander is going to be that popular. 10% across the industry right now. Which will be more popular this week, Scotty and 5-7K guys, or Scotty and another stud and 2 10K guys? Well, let's look. So I think Scotty and 5-7K guys is probably, maybe not 5 of them, but that's probably more. Scotty, another stud and 2 5Ks. It does not look like that is happening as much. So I'm going to go with your first option. Second cut merch looking clean, Mina. Yeah, I'll give you like the 30-second rundown on this. Not even 30 seconds. The Second Cut podcast is a podcast that we launched after 10 years of podding and 1,500 episodes as the First Cut podcast on CBS Sports. They retired that podcast earlier this year. We could not let it go. So I brought the boys back. We're doing it independently as the Second Cut podcast. Unbelievable name. I think that was Mina's idea. She's done merch. She's our producer. We do podcasts 3 times a week, but for major championships, we also do all-round recaps. If you like golf, you will love it. It's got Mark Immelman. It's Greg Ducharme. We've got instructor perspective. We've got analyst perspective from on the ground with Mark. We've got a lot of different stuff. The Second Cut podcast, it's on YouTube. It's in all your podcast feeds. It is going to be very popular. It already is. And we have a very good built-in base, and we've been clicking for 10 years. I'm 250th out of 350 in a one and done. LOL, says Adam. Yeah, but majors are 1.5. I need a unique win here. Feels like Bryson is yeah, you can't go with Bryson. You have to play Ludwig here. I think that is the play. There's a promo. Oops. Hold on. Did I lose my spot? Oh boy. Sometimes I lose my spot when I click I did. Here we go. Bryson, Xander, Ludwig, and Neiman are my available options. Oh, okay. That was the second part of the question. You should play Ludwig. Hey, Rick, thanks for all the data that you provide. I was wondering if you had any insights on Chandler Blanchett and how he sets up for the scores. Corn Ferry guy with a good driver, accuracy, and play. Austin, I don't know anything about Chandler. I can look to see how much data I have on him. If he's a Corn Ferry guy, I'll have his Corn Ferry tour results. $5,300. Here's his Corn Ferry stuff here in 2025. It's okay. Couple of top 10 or top 15 or top 20 finishes. Nothing too spectacular. Did have a streak from February until the end of May where he gained strokes in every single event. I'll have to take your word for it, Austin, on what he does well. But yeah, he's a solid Corn Ferry Tour player. He's going to need to be very Very sharp this week. Hey, Rick, let's get a little spicy and look at a cheap fantasy duo of Leishman and Jaeger. I like Jaeger. Jaeger is actually one of the most improved fast guys, clubhead speed wise, over the course of the last couple of years. I actually tweeted this or put this in my newsletter for this week, 100% free. Links in the description, rickrungood.com/newsletter. Where is it? So from Winged Foot, here you go. So from Winged Foot to now, a lot of these guys have gotten significantly faster. Jaeger is now like 10 miles an hour faster than he was then. He's actually as fast as Rory and John Rahm were in 2020. Those guys are faster now, but like that's going to be a big improvement for this week. Torn between Keegan and Russell Henley. I prefer Russell Henley. It's quite close. Sepp or Tommy or Cantlay for tier 2. That's even closer. Probably Sepp. I feel like Sepp offers a similar floor as Tommy Fleetwood with more upside. Twice a winner this year. Played well at the Memorial. Played well at Philly Cricket Club. Won it. Played well at Bay Hill. I mean, these are difficult golf courses. Not just the win at the American Express. I am in on Sepp. That is very, very tight, though. Safest plays in the $5,000 to $6,000 range to make the cut on DraftKings. All right, so I think there's a couple. So 5 to 6, so sub 6. I'm not even going to say Nicholas Norgard because every major championship he burns me. I think the answers are actually, hold on. There was some, I think it's Chris Goddard. So there is no safe option down here, but Jose Ballester is, I mean, he's an excellent player. He's a highly ranked amateur who got through PGA Tour U and declined his Korn Ferry Tour status to go to LIV. Now, here's a plug for rickrungood.com. I have all the LIV strokes gain data. I get all the shots from them. I have a data deal with them. I get all the shots from the DP World Tour, all the shots from the PGA Tour, everything. So when you look at a golfer like Jose Luis Ballester, I've got that information. If you look at a golfer like, I don't know, Terrell Hatton or John Rahm, I've got that information as well. If you want to be able to compare, there's all his LIV stuff. And if you look at somebody like, oh gosh, who's a good DP World? What about Ryan Fox, fresh off a victory? I've got all his DP World Tour stuff as well. So it's all there. Long story short, Jose Luis is an incredibly talented player who's raw and he's going to have to figure it out. Chris Goddard's playing the best golf of his career despite the miscut at the Canadian Open and has a very good skill set for Oakmont. Hey, Rick, there's a promo where you bet on the player who gets the most birdies or better in rounds 3 and 4. Okay, I'm just going to do this. I'm just going to go to the Holy Grail. I'm going to fire this thing up by round. I'm going to go everybody in this field in rounds 3 and 4 since the start of 2024. We're going to sort by strokes gained total, and we're going to look for guys that are not necessarily household names. So Scotty's 1, Neiman's 2. Justin, that's only 2 rounds. How about Tristan Lawrence? 41 rounds. He's gaining 2 strokes per round. Did it at the Open Championship. Had those massive Saturday and Sunday rounds last year. European Open, he closed well. Let's see who else. Leishman's been good in rounds 3 and 4. Rasmus Niergaard Peterson, Richard Bland, Johnny Kiefer, Patrick Reed, Tommy Fleetwood. Hopefully that helps. Good luck. Hey, Rick, got to get my second cut merch hat. Yeah, baby. Secondcutmerch.com. Can you take a look at DFS ownership in the 8 and 7K range? I feel like Fleetwood, Lowry. Okay, so let's do this. 7 to 8K. We've got, nobody's super 13, 14, 15%. Lowry, Straka, Corey Connors, Ben Griffin, a little bit less than that. That's kind of interesting. Sam Burns, a couple of notches below that. That's kind of interesting. No one's getting egregious. Can we just talk about Jordan Spieth and the fact that he is $7,500? He is the almost single digits in terms of ownership. He's driving it the best he ever has. He's hitting it on approaches the best he's had in like 3 years. He's putting it the best he has in like 5 years. He's playing the best golf he's had since, I don't know, the number 1 player in the world. It just comes off a T7 at the Memorial. Let's ride. Let's ride, Jordan. If you need your... Oh, wait, I missed one. Thanks for all your content. I can honestly say it's number 1 by far. Thank you. Can you run your model using 100 weights, 45 on distance, 45 on accuracy, and 45 around the green? The rest on bogey avoidance. Okay, that is, first off, that's 105. So there is not going to be the rest of it available. I can't even do those stuff that you put in. All right, so let's do this. This is going to be Coringus Belton's model. So we're going to go to the custom model. We've got 100 weights here. We are going to do 45 on driving distance. We are going to do 45 on driving accuracy. Well, we can't do that. We're going to do 35 on driving accuracy, 35 on driving distance. We're going to put 15 on strokes gained around the green in the last 50 rounds. We're going to then put the rest on bogey avoidance, which in this scenario is now 15. So this is Coringus's model. Scotty Scheffler. You can just forget Jackson Buchanan. I only have 4 rounds on him. Keegan Bradley, John Kiefer, also small sample size. Tommy Fleetwood, John Rahm, Shane Lowry, Harris English, Matt McCarty, believe it or not, and Davis Thompson are his top 10. I need your lock to make the cut. No such thing. But it says between Patrick Reed, Burns, Spieth, or Batia. Pretty high on most of those guys. Is the answer Jordan Spieth? Is that crazy? I think it's the answer. Victor or Hideki for tier 2. Like Victor's chances for this week, it's still Hideki, right? I mean, just the guy destroys hard golf courses. He made 19 cuts in a row at major championships before missing the cut at the PGA. When he's going, he can look like the best player in the world. I think that's still the answer. What order do these 4 finish in? I'm going with Straka, Fleetwood, Lowry, Hatton is the order I'm going with. Top fade and dark horse. I mean, listen, there was actually a really good question that I wanted to get to about somebody was like, make a case for the top 6 to miss the cut or something like that. Oh boy, where was it? All right. Well, I'll come back to that. But I think the top, I'm betting, I've already bet Brooks Koepka to miss the cut. I think Justin Thomas is going to have a pretty tough time. I think that if Rory McIlroy can't drive it, it's over. I'm worried there. Dark horse. I mean, Sepp Straka, Jordan Spieth. I think that Sam Burns is pretty live. I think Ben Griffin's pretty live. I don't know if they're going to win the golf tournament. I think Ryan Fox. I think it's a good spot for Ryan Fox. I think Akshay's in a pretty good spot. I've bet Akshay to be the top lefty at 3.2 to 1. What golfer have you liked more as the week has gone on? And which golfers have you liked less as the week has gone on? I think the forecast helps Morikawa. It'll make fairways easier to hit. If he plays out of the fairway, it's going to be very, very good for him. Guys that I've not liked as the week goes on, I'll try to stay towards the top of the board. I don't know. The Lowry maybe just because I know he's been rather popular. I love the way he's hitting it. He kind of removes himself from golf tournaments when things start going bad. He just has this inability to stop the momentum, the bad momentum, and it's not good. And then I think when he's out of it, when he deems himself out of it, I think he just kind of pulls the ripcord and ejects a little bit. And we've seen that a handful of times. So that is concerning as opposed to someone like Tommy Fleetwood, who often closes better, right? Who's going to Tommy grinds on every single shot for you, which I think is pretty important. Hey, Rick, in a prize money pool, how would you rank these guys? All right. So I would rank them as follows. Cantlay, Fleetwood, Lowry, English, Batia. That last one's pretty close. Here's the deep dive on Patrick Reed. The deep dive on Patrick Reed is that it's not going to look good, but he's going to find a way, right? You know, he finishes third at the Masters earlier this year. He's been playing well enough on Live Golf. He's going to lose strokes off the tee. He lost 7 strokes off the tee in Virginia last week in a 3-round Live event. Rest of his game was solid. He finds a way, whether it's an international series in Macau, whether it's a major championship, whether it's Live Golf. He just finds a way. That miscut at the PGA Championship was his first since the 2021 Open at Royal St. George's. So, yeah, he's going to find a way to get into the weekend. And there's going to be a moment. There's going to be some moment. I don't know if it's going to be late on Sunday or early on Friday that he's going to be inside the top 10. It happens every single major. The dude is, he's a dog. He's a dog. I wish I knew the answer to this. I've not been to Oakmont. I don't know what the best spots to view are. I wish I could answer that. Enjoy it though. It's going to be great. All right. I am getting to similar questions, which is very good because there are a lot of questions, but there's a lot of similar ones. So I feel good about that. Having trouble selecting tier 6, I've narrowed it down to McCarty, Stevens, and Bridgman. You should play McCarty, but you shouldn't be happy about any one of those. I'm top 50 in the Rick Run Good one and done. Ooh, nice. I'm torn on Rahm or Xander. If you're top 50, then just play Rahm and then play Xander, next week or whatever. I think you should be playing Rahm here. Thoughts on Pavone, Hovland, and Rye? Thanks so much. I love the second cut. In on Hovland, not really in on Rye, and Pavone, I think, is a distant third. I think he's going to have a hell of a lot of trouble. I need to pick 2. I'm 5th out of 13 in this one and done. Pretty confident in Ludwig, on the fence with Lowry, Neiman, English. Should I save 2 PGA guys for the future? Yeah, you probably should. So play Neiman again. You're not thrilled about it, but I think the value of holding on to Lowry and holding on to English is probably pretty good. I'm in the middle of the pack and one and done. Can I get away with taking Rahm, or do I need to pivot elsewhere? Probably need to pivot elsewhere. The better option would be to use, God, that's such a tough spot for you because well, have you used Bryson? The problem, okay, so let's assume that everybody ahead of you is going to use, well, no. Let's assume 30% of the league or of the league is going to use Jon Rahm. So everybody ahead of you, 30% of them use Jon Rahm. You can move up if you're already in the middle. God, that is a really tough spot. You can probably do it. I don't feel great about it. If you haven't used Bryson, you could use Bryson and squeeze a couple more percentage points out of it. But again, the value of using one of these guys is pretty big. And I think there's a big 2. So damn, Gavin, just do it. Just use them. I hate it. Do you build your player pool first, then decide on your contests? Yes. So in theory, the first lineup you make is the best lineup that you're going to make. Then it's in theory, obviously. My player pools are generally quite tight. Like I Google Rick Run Good core cascading. That's what I do a lot. So I've 18 guys. Like that's pretty small considering you're putting 6 in every single one. I have a lot of crossover. Let's get to some new golfers here. Let's do this one from Dan. In regards to Ryan Gerard, because I think that he has gotten a little bit overlooked as of late with Ben Griffin's emergence and some of these other shiny new objects. But Ryan Gerard's been awesome. 9th in Houston, 2nd in Texas, the one miscut to Byron Nelson, 8th at the PGA. Played well at the Memorial and just didn't putt well, but he's usually a pretty good putter. What's his major championship record? Pretty good. Yeah, I think I'm quite bullish on Mr. Gerard. Is a single-digit ownership on Rory the biggest leverage to upside play on the slate? Yeah, let's have the Rory conversation, right? I can't believe we haven't really had the Rory conversation. Everyone seems like they've had their mind made up on Rory. Yeah, like if you told me Rory was going to be 9% owned and he is still the 3rd or 4th shortest odds, he is still the guy who has the best run of US Opens in the last 6 years where he has not finished outside the top 10. I would say, yeah, that is a huge leverage spot. Is he going to, he's not going to drive it as poorly as he did in Canada because I don't think that's possible. And I mean that nicely. Like that was one of the best driving weeks of his career. So I think he will have figured this out, right? It was like DEFCON 5, get Rory a driver that works at TaylorMade. tested a lot of drivers. He said, or the setup for this week is, quote, as close to the Masters as they could possibly get. I don't know how close that is, but I'm fine with that. That aspect of his game leads into every other aspect. I think Rory's going to be fine this week. I don't think he's going to win. I think he could win. I think he's going to finish inside the top 15. Might not be good enough at this price, but I'm not as worried about Rory as I guess everybody else is. I'm 4.3 million behind. Oh, from being in the money. Oof. Crap. Yeah, use Xander. It says I have Bryson, Neiman, Xander, Fleetwood. Just man. Do you have Rom left? Because you could. I don't love you playing Bryson at the Open though, but how are you going to make up ground? Just play Xander and hate it. Who of the longest day qualifiers do you think will finish the highest? Just smack me right in the head when I say Cam Young, and that's the answer, right? Just like that dude is an elite skill set, who's driving it well, who's putting it well, who seems to be putting it together a little bit, who played well on Monday last Monday at the US Open qualifier. He played well at the Canadian Open. He should have won that golf tournament, but he didn't. He is so cheap that I just don't know how he doesn't pay himself off. Any interest in Ben Griffin at plus 250, JJ Spawn at 3.3, and Andrew Novak at 4-1 for top 20? I think Ben Griffin's the real deal in the sense that, like, he's not a superstar, but he's going to be a very good player and has a lot of the good skill. I mean, look at this. Just if I asked you for a well-rounded guy who hit it far, and I showed you this stat profile, you'd be thrilled. If then I showed you a picture of nerdy vegan Ben Griffin in his aviators, you'd be very upset. Now, I love Ben Griffin. I'm a nerd. I've been a vegan for some time, not currently, and I don't own aviators, but like, yeah, so I mean that all very nicely. So it's tough when you look at this accountant or whatever, loan officer, but the stats are there. He's a very, very good golfer. Armina, who is the producer, her play of the week is I believe she said Cam Young. Okay, let me. I'm hovering. I'm going past the questions that I've answered. Does this seem like one of those majors that people will put up some good numbers on day one and then move backwards over the final 3 days? Yeah, I think so. So a couple things will happen. If it rains like they say like it says it's going to, the golf course will get really long. They're not that they're going to cut the grass, but like that wet, heavy, thick rough is going to be very, very nasty. Depending on how fast and firm the greens are, it could still be very difficult when it's wet. Now, if the greens become very receptive, it's a different story. But I can see it getting. I mean, it's going to get more difficult. Chris, thank you for the super chat. Never expected, always appreciated. Can we run a model? Last third. I thought it said 36.2% total driving. I was like, Chris, it's a little much there. All right, so here we go. So this is going to be Chris's model. Clear these out. Last 36 for, what did he say? Total driving, right? Is that what he said? Total driving for 20. Distance from edge of fairway. Do I have that in here? No. So we're going to say good drive percent for 20. Putting, go down to putting. Inside 10 feet. Bogey avoidance. Hard golf courses and scrambling. All right. So bogey avoidance. Hard golf courses. Scrambling. All right. Chris's model. Scotty Scheffler, number 1. Shock. Tommy Fleetwood, Rory McIlroy, Harris English, Shane Lowry, Daniel Berger, Ludwig, Colin, Aaron Rai, Jordan Spieth. Good luck, Chris. Who are we fading for fairways and greens in regulation? Brooks. Oh, here it is. I think this is a fun question. A reason why each of the top 6 guys won't win. Scotty Scheffler won't win because it's more likely than not that he doesn't. And God, why doesn't Scotty Scheffler win? I think that very, very, very fast greens for Scotty, I'm intrigued about. He has talked a lot about friction on golf courses in the past, and I'm interested. I think it's like a nothing burger, but I'm interested. After that, let's see. Rory won't win because he can't drive it well and he's playing just horrible golf, but it's 2 rounds actually. Bryson won't win because once things start to go sideways for Bryson, he has a hard time getting them back on track, and he is going to make bogeys. He's going to make a lot of bogeys, and so is everybody, and that will drive him nuts. Xander won't win because he has not, while he's been hitting it far, he has not been hitting it straight enough. John Rahm won't win because I don't know, because he can't beat the live guys. Is that a real thing? I think John Rahm could win. Colin won't win because he's not long enough. Ludwig won't win because he hasn't been good enough. I don't know. That was harder than I thought it was going to be. Okay. Okay. So we could do this. So there was a couple questions in a row about kind of like fast greens and high undulating greens and things like that. So the undulation in these greens is absolutely nuts. Okay. Don't take my word for it. Take Michael Kim's word for it, who says it makes Augusta National look flat, right? Which I can tell you is insane. So there's a couple of things here. The other thing is so basically if you hit the green, you're like always like 70 feet away. So I like to you could do a couple of things. You could put like 33% of your weights on 25 putts of 25 or longer. That'll obviously do the lag putt. Approach putt performance is a lag putt stat. And then fast greens, you could do that as well. So number 1 golfer would be, in that scenario, JT Poston. These are all putting stats, obviously. Poston, Finau, Adam Scott, Denny McCarthy, Christian Bezuidenhout are your top 5 there, which I think is kind of interesting. There are, in this moment on a live chat, that would be the way that I would look at those kind of fast, undulating, long putt type of situations. The Switch 2 is out. What's the difference between the Switch and the Switch 2? Can you give me your gut feeling about top 3 letdowns who will litter our DK lineups with banana peels? That's a Mario Kart reference. All right. This is just my gut. All right. My gut is that Colin is going to struggle. My gut is that Justin Thomas, Brooks Koepka, Joaquin Niemann, Rory McIlroy are going to struggle. There are situations in which, depending on what you're asking out of all of them, that, they become good plays, but that my gut is that they are going to struggle. I don't use my gut very often. Are you more confident going into Oakmont with guys that are on heaters like Griffin or Fox, or guys that are higher on the OWGR that haven't been playing great, like Hovland and Cantlay? Probably the heaters, man. You got to be playing well. You just got to be sharp. You got to be sharp. Grazerman or Bridgman will be last man in. Grazerman. So it says, is there a way you can look up club head speed and ball speed on my website? So very, very shortly, I've got every shot loaded in. I just haven't been able to push the I'm like a year into this project, but it's close. If you've noticed what I've been tweeting out, you can tell I'm very close. I got putting into a holding cell this weekend. Don't ask. Well, now I got to. While I was in there, my cellmate was persistent on this week being the one that Cantlay finally wins. That's probably why they locked him up, quite honestly. All right. I like Cantlay, but do I think he's going to win? That would be tough. He plays great at difficult golf courses. He's having an unbelievable year. The short game and the putter are still not good enough in their current form, and they are going to be tested in a big way. Outside of that, like, I'm cool with him. Outside the fact that he's got like 0 dog in him, just 0 dog in him. If they played 1,000 holes, Patrick Cantlay might win this. But they don't, and he's gonna have to look at a leaderboard eventually, and I just absolutely terrifies me. Sammy says, I don't really believe the expectations and that the winner is going to be over par. I could see it. Firm and fast, I think, would be harder, but this is such a hard golf course. I've probably said this week, but like, I've looked at the numbers for hundreds of golf courses. I've looked at the quotes for hundreds of golf courses. I looked at the satellite imagery measurements for hundreds of golf courses. I think this is by far the hardest one that I've ever seen. There's just so many ways they can beat you up. And I also think they take pride in that. Oakmont takes pride in being the hardest golf course in the world. So, like, okay, they're going to be the hardest golf course in the world. And I think they're going to prove it. Now, I don't know if Mother Nature is going to cooperate, but I could absolutely see the winning score being over par. Yeah. I won. Oh, okay. I didn't really understand this first. It says, I won $1,200 on the PGA Championship utilizing your software. That's awesome. Question: should I adjust my DFS lineup because we will see a lot less birdies and eagles this week? So when that happens, the finishing position score, your finishing position becomes a much larger, higher percentage of your total fantasy points scored. So, I'm not as interested in like birdie makers or birdie streaks. Like if somebody has a birdie streak this week, they're probably going to be the only one. So that I care less about. I care more about like the well-rounded guys that don't make a lot of bogeys, guys that just consistent. You could find, like, we could do this. Let's go to the power rankings. Let's go to strokes gain distribution and see if we can find some guys that gain like 1 or more strokes to the field a lot, but they never get to like 5 or more, which would be like a very consistent, like Tommy Fleetwood, like Mark Leishman. Who else would be pretty good in that? Like Michael Kim, Jacob Bridgman. These guys that are just gonna, they're gonna beat the field a lot, but they're never gonna go nuts. Just like that consistent thing. What would, if you set the line at 98.5, TJ, I would probably take the over, quite honestly. I think I would get crushed out here. All right. What else have we not covered yet? Very good. Okay. I'll just rank these real quick. I would go, Burns. No, I would go Griffin, Burns, English, Bradley. Basically the way you have them right there. I'm in a pool where you pick 4 golfers. Golfer 1's score is ×4. Oh boy. Okay. Wait. Is ×4 like in a good way or in a bad way? I don't understand that. Okay, I'm glad. Okay, this is a new one. How about this? A lot of them were very, very similar things that we've talked about. Let's look at Denny McCarthy. Talk about guys who are dogs. I think Denny is a dog. All right. Hasn't missed a cut since the Open, but he hasn't. Well, there's a couple good finishes in here. The putter is always going to be pretty high. This is what I'm worried about. I'm worried about the approach play, which is in the midst of a bit of a slump right now. He's lost strokes in 6 straight on approach. The drivers, like, he's going to lose strokes off the tee this week, almost certainly. What's his major championship record look like? Actually getting better, right? God, he is like that. Look, he has never lost strokes putting at a major championship. That's nuts. I'm like pretty lukewarm on Denny. It hurts, but like, I don't think you're gonna love it, but it is. I'm not in on Aaron Rai this week. I think I love the ball striking prowess, but I just think he's gonna get smoked in other places, and I don't think you're gonna be able to out hit a lot of bad play. Are there any golfers that are not above average in driving distance that should be even considered this week? Yeah, like there's going to be a huge edge playing out of the fairway. Now, my hunch is that it's going to be pretty hard to play out of the fairway because of how narrow they are. But the rain is going to help. Like the rain helps Rye and Morikawa, I believe. Guys that are just accurate enough. Corey Connors is another one. Like they're probably in better situations. I like Andrew Novak. I'm pretty lukewarm on him, but I'm in on him. Yeah. So Philip, you could do the weighted strokes gained on rickrungood.com. I mean, that's probably good for this week anyway, not just the live guys, but for open qualifiers, for Corn Ferry guys, for DP World Tour guys, like I would start with like 20 weights on weighted strokes gained total. I would just start there. Neiman or Sepp for one and done, middle of the pack of the top, middle of the pack of 40. I prefer Sepp, but you're probably better off if you're going to play one of those two. It's probably better off saving Sepp and using Neiman. You got a future value proposition there. Why not Ryan Fox this week? Agreed. Ryan Fox has been awesome, right? Ryan Fox is playing the best golf of his life. He's got 2 wins. He's got the T28, the PGA. He's got the T20 Memorial. Hard golf course. And then the Canadian Open was a splendid display. Let's look at his major championship record. I don't think it's, I was gonna say, I don't think it's too bad. Has only missed one cut, or last cut missed was the Open at St. Andrews, which was 2022. So he's gonna have to putt well, but I love Ryan Fox's game. Just out of the money on Splash. So you're what, inside the top 10 or 15%? If that case, you can play Rom. You're on the beach right now. Adam says, watching from the beach in Siesta Key, Florida. Oh man, I'm jealous. I'll show you the Rye profile. I think I've made it pretty clear. I'm not stoked about this, but lost 2 strokes putting at the Memorial, lost 4 at Colonial, lost 1 at Quail Hollow, lost 5 at Harbortown. I mean, he's just capable of just not like, doesn't matter how good you hit it if you give it away on and around the greens, which is crazy. But that was a lot of dead air. That was probably the most dead air I've ever done in my entire life. Okay. So I was just reading a lot of different things here. Here's the thing on Akshay. First off, let's just talk about he's incredibly talented, and I love the improvements that he's made over the course of the last couple of years. So let's just start there. He went through a little bit of a slump right here from basically the Texas Open till what I think was the PGA Championship. Now look at what he's done since. Colonial, really good ball striking numbers, putter, boom. T22. Muirfield Village, okay, let's get a little more difficult. Picks up 6.5 strokes on approach, which is not out of the realm of possibilities because he also did that at Harbortown, and lost strokes with the putter, still finished T16. So we've got a couple of good things here. I think the ball striking is getting back to what we saw for the last year or so. And the putter, despite what he did at Muirfield Village, has been very, very, very good over the last year. So I'm in on this. Like I said, I bet him to be top lefty, 3.2 to 1. It's like him, Robert McIntyre, Brian Harmon, Phil, Joe Highsmith. Like there's like 7 of them. I'm in on Akshay. Grillo popped in your model because he's back to being the king of team no putt, which is really nice, but he's going to get smoked here, right? You know, he's not long enough off the tee. He's going to get smoked here, I think. But like, let me get Emiliano Grillo with a similar stat profile at the 3M Open. Now I'm cooking, right? We're keeping an eye on Emiliano. All right. But this feels like a bad spot for him. Curious on what your thoughts are on shot apex is this week with fast greens and bad rough around the green. In general, more firm and fast. Having a higher descent angle from an apex is much, much better. You can use trajectory to stop a golf ball as opposed to just being required or reliant on spin. So that is awesome. I'm dying to see how receptive these greens are. And as the week goes on, how receptive they will be with any potential water. That's the only thing. I'm a little worried that this forecast neuters Oakmont. It'll make some aspects harder, but I really want these greens to be firm. I don't know if we are going to get that. I do like clubhead speed, but you gotta be, can't just be clubhead speed. So that rolls out Minwoo for me. 2 L's make an yeah. Like what? Grilla? I don't know. Pacers or Thunder? I definitely know the answer to this. Tonight, Pacers at home. Final score 109-105. That's not going to work out. Oh, in on Pendrith. Yeah, in on Pendrith here. Let's look. Look at this run he's been on. Massive driving gains. Very good second shot numbers. Look, he fixed the around the green play. He went like 9 starts in a row hemorrhaging, has picked it up in 4 straight. The putter's still kind of hit or miss. That's fine. In on Taylor Pendrith. Why is Rahm so popular this week? Besides the PGA Championship year, hasn't he been awful in majors since joining LIV? No. He was awful at the first 2. He was awful at the Masters. He was awful at the Open. But he's played much better. So this is right here is his first major as a member of LIV. T45. He missed the cut to PGA. Did not play the US Open that year. Since then, he's gone 7th, 14th, and 8th. So he's actually been quite good at major championships. Okay. I've got like 2 minutes, and these are like 2 real minutes, not 2 MENA minutes where things take like 20 minutes. These are like not 2 basketball minutes. I have like 2 real minutes. What's for lunch? I'm probably just going to go to Chipotle, get a nice little treat. Thoughts on Phil? No. Not a vegan currently, but I did spend like a year. It's actually not that bad. It's actually quite good. I actually felt very good. I should probably do it again. Okay. The good news is a lot of these are very similar. Yes, Armina's been full-time with Rick Rungood since 2021, I think, which is crazy. No. Yeah, maybe 2021, which is crazy. She's like 4 years into this. It's nuts. No, I will not enter splash entries for you. But no, I won't. In on Rasmus. In on Carlos Ortiz. Out on Cam Smith. Out on Tom Kim. Mildly out on Keegan. Mildly out on Maverick McNeely. Mildly in on Dietrich. In on Gerard. Lukewarm on Matt McCarty. He's not a long hitter, but the rest of it does. The rest does good. Chipotle is a treat. Yeah, brother. Come on. All right. I'm sorry, but I do have to go. You guys have been the absolute best. RickRunGood.com. Go sign up for the second cut. That splash contest. If you want to play golf with John Daly and I, it is going to fill. It's the US Open. It is going to be absolutely bonkers. I'll talk to you guys soon. See ya.